Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or The Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be going in depth into my week number 15 waiver wire ads for the 2022 fantasy football season. But before we could get into things, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFNTSY. Today's video is being brought to you guys by DraftKings Sportsbook. We're going to be talking about them a little bit later. So without further ado, let's get into my week number 15 top waiver wire ads. We begin with the running back waiver wire ads of the week, headlined by Zonovan Knight of the New York Jumbo Jets going up against the Detroit Lions this week at home in MetLife. Zonovan Knight is currently owned in only 55% of leagues on Yahoo Fantasy, so if you play on NFL, CBS, ESPN, any of those other fantasy football platforms, then the ownership percentage is going to be slightly different, though I will note in some cases there might actually be a drastic difference in ownership percentage depending on the player. In week number 14, up against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo in some pretty weird weather, Zonovan Knight was the RB number 11 on the week in half PPR. Now, this is prior to Monday Night Football tonight, so if two running backs play good, that maybe ends up being the running back 13 on the week, but for all intensive purposes, running back number 11 prior to Monday Night Football, 17 rushes for 71 yards and a touchdown, as well as 2 receptions on 2 targets for 6 yards, 3 straight solid games in a row, and even with Michael Carter active last week, Zonovan Knight was still the guy, and I feel as though Zonovan Knight will continue to be the guy in this backfield going forward all season long as he does not get banged up, knock on wood. Of course, I really do think Zonovan Knight is the best running back out of all of Michael Carter, Ty Johnson, James Robinson, all the guys they have. Zonovan Knight is the best running back, and they're playing up against you smell that? A putrid, a awful Detroit Lions defense. And even if Magic Mike White is out and they have to play with cool Joe Flacco, I still honestly think this could be a huge game out of Zonovan Knight, and I am shocked, perplexed that he's only owned in 55% of leagues. At number 2, we have Chuba Hubbard of the Carolina Panthers going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 33% owned. It is important to understand that Zonovan Knight is the running back to have, and if you get any of these other guys, sure, it's cool, but those are guys you're just playing in a pinch, whereas Zonovan Knight has the upside to be a top 12 running back weekly. Week 14 at the Seattle Seahawks, running back number 9 in half PPR, having 14 rushes for 74 yards and a score, as well as 3 receptions on 3 targets for 25 yards. This seems like it may be a 3-way backfield between Foreman, Hubbard, and Blackshear. So this is kind of one of those situations where if you're down bad at running back, now there's no more fucking bye weeks, so you don't have to worry about bye weeks, but maybe one of your running backs hurt, you're down bad, you need a shot in the dark, and you go Chuba Hubbard, okay. But in reality, unless there's an injury to Foreman, knock on wood, we don't root for injuries, Chuba Hubbard is a guy that, let's be honest, do we really expect him to be top 10 in another game going forward? Probably not. At number 3, we have Jerick McKinnon of the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Houston Texans in Houston, 62% owned. And we just saw the Dallas Cowboys, while that game was pretty close, shouldn't have been close at all. Honestly, a laughable fucking performance by the Dallas Cowboys. The Houston defense is dog shit against the run. We just saw Tony Pollard run a train on him. And despite Tony Pollard running a said train all over that Houston Texans defense, week 14 up against the Denver Broncos in Denver, McKinnon was the RB1 in half PPR, 6 rushes for 22 yards, 7 receptions on 9 targets for 112 yards, and not 1, but 2 touchdowns in that game. Now, I do still believe in Pacheco. I'm still a big Pacheco fan, and I still think Pacheco is the guy. I think he is. But the usage of McKinnon is going to remain solid if he keeps putting up numbers like that. And again, the Houston Texans defense is soft as baby shit, so maybe we could see a big game out of Jerick McKinnon here, but I will temper my expectations because, again, Pacheco really is the guy. At number 4, we have Gus Bus Edwards of the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, 49% owned on Yahoo. Week 14 at the Pittsburgh Steelers, running back 27 in half PPR, 13 carries for 66 yards. J.K. Dobbins is still going to continue to be the league back, but again, if you are in a real pinch here, you need to start a running back. The matchup against the Browns is incredibly positive. The Browns' run defense is absolute dick cheese. So again, if you're in a pinch, you need a filling guy, you can go with Gus Edwards, but I honestly think as the season goes along, J.K. Dobbins is going to see more and more touches as he gets more healthy. To close out the running back waiver wire ads, we got Jordan Mason, running back of the San Francisco 49ers, going up against the Seattle Seahawks. In Seattle, the numbers, Mason, what do they mean? 12% owned on Yahoo. Week 14 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, RB number 29 in half PPR, 11 rushes for 56 yards. It is very, very clear, crystal fucking clear, that Jordan Mason is the handcuff for Christian McCaffrey. On the off chance that McCaffrey gets hurt again, knock on wood, we don't root for injuries, Mason would have everyone scrambling to the fucking waiver wire to pick him up. So if you have McCaffrey, then pick him up right now. Maybe you have some players on your bench that you don't think are relatively useful, you're never going to play. Cut them, pick up Jordan Mason. And if McCaffrey gets hurt, you might have a fucking league winner on your bench. And again, we're knocking on the door of the playoffs. This might be the fantasy playoffs for you. If not, they start next week. It's handcuffing season. You need to make sure you have your handcuff. So if you have Barkley, you might want to add Matt Breida. You might want to look up who the handcuff is to your running back and pick that motherfucker up before it is too late. And if you guys have any questions about other running backs you might want to talk about, just ask down below in the comment section. And while you're down there, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button down below as well. Now we move to the wide receiver possession, to beginning with my guy, DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones of the Cleveland Browns, going up against the Baltimore Ravens. Now I know some people are going to be like, but Nick, you talk about Donovan Peoples-Jones every single fucking week. I know, but somehow on Yahoo, he's still only owned in 58% of leagues. That shit doesn't add up. That makes no sense. Week 14 up against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. Wide receiver 14 in half PPR, 8 receptions on 12 targets for 114 yards. Now, I know some people might have dropped Donovan Peoples-Jones because Deshaun Watson looked like dog shit against the Texans. Now, I agree. He looked terrible. But last week, up against the Bengals in Cincinnati, Deshaun Watson woke up to the occasion. He played much better. And maybe the thought process I had last week following that shit game against the Texans was that, hey, maybe the game was too big in his head. Maybe he made it up to be way too much bigger than it actually is. And, oh, I'm going back to Houston, this, that, and the other thing. And it was a mental gymnastics game for him. He shits the bed. Maybe now that he's over that hump, maybe now he's more comfortable, less rusty, maybe Deshaun Watson's going to end up being a league winner. Maybe he could elevate DPJ to being that. Speaking of league winners, I think we might have another one here. Treylon Burks, rookie wide receiver of the the Tennessee Titans, going up against the LA Chargers in Viva. Oh, I almost said Viva Las Vegas. It's no one has ever sung Viva Los Angeles. At least I don't think so. 52% owned. He was out last week, so we have to go ahead and hop into the time machine back to week number 13 for his stats. Week 13 up against the Eagles in Philadelphia. Wide receiver 36.5 PPR, having 1 reception on 1 target for 25 yards and a tug. The Chargers defense is also absolutely dog shit against the pass. Now, I know some people might say, Nick, you're a Dolphins fan, and you just saw the Dolphins defense get their shit clapped in by the Chargers. The Chargers locked up Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, you fucking idiot. Sure, but that was just the Dolphins refusing. Mike McDaniel refused to fucking adjust. He did not adjust one bit. The play call was like me playing Madden. Fucking run on a streak, try to hit Tyreek for the 20-yard gain. What the fuck are you doing? Just throw slants, throw the underneath, dump the ball off, screen, something, Mike McDaniel, you stupid fucking bastard. Because if we go into Buffalo and lay an egg like that again, I'm gonna throw my fucking television out of the room. But back on into what's actually important here. Sorry to get off on a rage real quick. Look, Burks, that one game with 1 reception, 1 target, 25 yards, and touchdown, he caught his only target in the game where he got hurt. He got fucking concussed and was still able to, my mouth just made a really weird noise, sound like a ripped ass, but he was able to hold on to the ball. It was impressive. Burks is the real deal. The Chargers defense sucks. Fugazi. They had 1 great game against the Dolphins. I think Burks is going to let it loose in this game, and I really do think he has league winner potential. Before we move on into the rest of the wide receivers, then dive into the quarterbacks and the tight ends, I would like to give you guys a quick word from our friends and our sponsor over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, if you're a brand new user to DraftKings Sportsbook, then this is a great offer for you. If you click on the link in the video description or in the pinned comment down below and bet $5 on any pregame money line from now until December 30th, you will receive $150 in free bets if your bet wins. Notice how I said if your bet wins. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to throw it on the screen right now. You're going to sign up, pause the video, sign up. Then you're going to navigate to college basketball. You're going to bet the biggest favorite in college basketball. Simple. Gonzaga money line minus 17,500. Minus 17,500 versus Northern Illinois. Gonzaga is going to destroy them. Hopefully, that's the assumption. They're minus 17,500. They are mega favorites. Easy game for them. Bet $5 on them. You win $150 in free bets. It's that simple. And if you live in Maryland, you will actually receive $200 in free bets, which is even more of a bonus. So make sure you guys check that out. Link in the video description or in the pinned comment. It helps me out a ton. It's also going to help you out a ton because, again, normally when someone tells you they can turn $5 into $150, it's some type of pyramid scheme. Here, you're guaranteed to get it as long as Gonzaga hits, which it should. So make sure you guys do go ahead and check that out. Back on into things. We move to wide receiver number 3 here. Zay Jones of the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against the Dallas Cowboys. The Fraud Boys? The Fraud Boys. How about them Cowboys, baby? 51% owned. A nail-biter win against the Texans. Now, I know the Cowboys fans will be like, Nick, your team just lost to the Chargers, you fucking idiot. You can't make fun of us. We beat the Texans. Nice 17.5-point favorite game, you fucking idiots. I'm only kidding. I don't actually hate the Cowboys. I actually root for the Cowboys because it seems like everyone else hates them. But it is still funny seeing them lose. Week 14 at Tennessee. Wide receiver 9.5 PPR. Trevor Lawrence, touchdown Jesus. Went insane. 8 receptions, 12 targets, 77 yards, and a tug. 4 straight games with 7 or more targets. And in 3 out of those 4 games, the motherfucker had 10 or more targets. Sounds pretty good to me. And we just saw Dallas get exposed by Jeff Driscoll. Have you guys ever seen that picture of Jeff Driscoll at Florida where he has a bigger ass than Kim Kardashian? Pretty impressive out of Jeff Driscoll. I bet you he is doing a lot of squats. But, yeah, Jeff Driscoll and fucking Davis Malney Mills kept the game close. Come on, man. Jaguars looking pretty legit. This should be a fun one. At number 4, we got my guy, Baby Chark, Baby Chark, DJ Chark, formerly of the Jaguars, now on the Lions, going up against the New York Jumbo Jets in MetLife, 40% owned. Week 14 up against a garbage Vikings defense at home in Detroit. Shout out to the Lions for winning. Dan Campbell throwing his cojones in a wheelbarrow after a lot of those calls. Throwing the ball to fucking Penei Sewell to win the game. That's an insane person call. And that fake punt when you're on like your own 20-yard line. Bananas. What this guy's decision making is fucking crazy. And it's fun to watch. He's playing Madden just like McDaniel, except for McDaniel is just throwing Hail Marys all the time. Dan Campbell's like, oh, look, this would be funny, right? If you threw it to fucking Penei Sewell to win the game. No one's going to think about that. And he does it. It's fucking hilarious. I don't even think you could do that in Madden because Madden fucking sucks ass. 6 receptions on 7 targets, 94 yards and a tug. Wide receiver 6 on the week. 2 games in a row with over 12 half PPR points, despite Jameson Williams scoring last week. Look, I'm not saying it was a fluke because Jameson Williams is amazing. But even with that cool touchdown, nice, congrats. Like, I like Jameson Williams, so I'm not trying to like fucking look like I'm some dick who hates Jameson Williams, right? I think he's an incredibly talented player. Think he's going to do huge things in the league, maybe even this year, definitely next year. Well, look, right now, Chark's clearly the number 2 guy, right? And I don't think you can make any type of argument against that. So, again, I know that the matchup against the Jets it's not the Vikings. Like, the Vikings defense is dick cheese against the pass. But I like DJ Chark going forward. And final receiver here, Van Jefferson of the LA Rams going up against the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. 25% owned. This is a high upside pickup, assuming that Baker's going to get better as he learns the playbook more. And I know assumptions make an ass out of you and me, but you know, sometimes we gotta assume that, right? He showed up fucking a day and a half before that Thursday night football game and wins. Gotta assume he's gonna get better, hopefully. Week 14 up against the Raiders. Wide receiver 27.5 PPR, 2 receptions on 4 targets with 44 yards and a touchdown. Shout out to my guy, Van Jefferson. Again, a high upside pickup, but again, when the upside's high and the team might be spiking up a little bit. Could be interesting ad. Now we move to the quarterback position, beginning with Mr. Irrelevant, Horse cock Brock, big cock Brock Purdy of the Niners going up against the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle, 10% owned. Week 14 up against the Bucks, quarterback 6. Outplays Tom Brady, 16 completions on 21 attempts for 185 yards and 2 tutties, 2 rushes for 3 yards and another touchdown. 3 fucking touchdowns right on your face, Tom Brady. Now he gets the Seahawks. Now I know, Nick, you've been a proponent of liking the Seattle Seahawks, and I am. I like the Seahawks defense. I do. But the Niners offense is legit. But Nick, they're not going to have Depot. Okay, they still have George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk. I know, Juwan Jennings isn't this sexy name, but they have other options to throw the fucking ball to. Brock Purdy looks good. Mr. Irrelevant is turning into Mr. Relevant. Mr. Irrelevant is better than Mr. Unlimited. Let's go, Brock Purdy, baby. He beat my Dolphins' ass. He beat the fucking 49ers' ass. Let's see if he can do the same thing. 2, Pete Carroll. And the Seahawks at number 2, we have Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones, Danny Stumbles, Danny Fumbles of the Giants going up against the Commanders of Washington. This is the second game in a row for the Commanders that they're playing because they played and then bye week for the Commanders, and then they play again. But the Giants had a in-between game where they got skull-fucked by the Eagles, 55% owned on Yahoo. Mr. Brock Purdy was 10% owned, if I didn't mention that. Quarterback 11 last week for Danny Dimes, 18 completions on 27 attempts for 169 yards and a tug, 4 rushes for 26 yards and an additional touchdown. Now, against the Eagles defense, one of the best defenses in all of the National Football League, I don't think anyone was banging the drum for Daniel Jones, right? No one was doing that. No one. Still had a decent game. Again, the Commanders' defense is looking better. They're getting Chase Young back. So again, I'm not advocating, not getting down on my knees and giving this guy some metaphorical dick suck gawk 9,000. I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to tell you is that Daniel Jones is good enough to put up 18, 20 fantasy points against Washington. He put up 17, I believe, last time out these two teams played. So he's got it in him, even though he's throwing to fucking local McDonald's employees. At number 3, we got Mystic Mac Jones, quarterback of the Patriots, going up against the, turn your volume down, the Las Vegas Raiders. In Viva Las Vegas, 18% owned. The Patriots have yet to play tonight, so we got to hop in the time machine back to week number 13 up against the Bills. Bad game. Quarterback 22 completions on 36 attempts for 195 yards and a tug, 3 rushes for 7 yards. Now, I know I haven't been someone who necessarily is banging the drum aggressively for the Bills defense. Let's be honest, they have one of the better defenses in the league. The Patriots offense isn't the best. So, of course, Mac Jones, who I don't think is very good, struggles. Now, if Mac Jones struggles tonight against Arizona, which I feel might be possible, then I am going to put up the white flag, panic a little bit on Mac Jones. But he is playing the Raiders next week. The Raiders have a notoriously bad defense. Their defense is so bad. Terrible. So even Mac Jones, who is as good as a garbage can, is probably going to be able to put up numbers against that Raiders defense. Now we move to the tight ends here. Easy E. Evan Ingram of the Jaguars going up against the Cowboys, 56% owned. Week 14 versus the Tennessee Titans, and Tennessee tight end number 1. 11 receptions on 15 targets. 1-5. 162 yards, 2 touchdowns. Back-to-back games with 7 or more targets. Evan Ingram was on fire, NBA Jam style, up against the Titans. We've seen the highest of highs with Ingrams. We've seen really, really low lows. And I talked about this last week. Evan Ingram is basically the textbook, the dictionary, fucking Webster's dictionary definition of boom or bust. The guy might score fucking 25 points, 30 points again, or he might score 4 points. He is boom or bust. You never really see Evan Ingram go out there and score like 11 points. You never see that. You either see the big games, the huge games, the bigliest of games, let me tell you, the huge games, or you see these terrible games. So, again, the Cowboys defense look real shit against the Texans. I'm interested to see what Easy E does in this game. Next up, we move to my guy, Chigozium Okonkwo. Chig Okonkwo, tight end of the Tennessee Titans, going up against the Chargers in L.A. 14% owned. Week 14 versus the Jaguars. Tight end number 2.5 PPR. 6 receptions on 6 targets for 45 yards and a score. 1 rush, 3 straight games with 5 or more targets. Now, I know Burks will return in this game, and I know Ryan Tannehill looks like Stevie Wonder half the time he's trying to play football. But at the end of the day, this Chig Okonkwo, hopefully I learn his name eventually because he's really good. He deserves the recognition. I tried to learn it, but you guys all know I'm an idiot when it comes to pronouncing names. I've always been bad at it my whole life. But, yeah, let's be more positive here. No need to put me down, you know what I'm saying? yeah, this is a great matchup against the Chargers. Again, the Chargers defense is bad. I know the Dolphins shit the bed against them, but they're bad. Bad, bad, bad. Even though Ryan Tannehill sucks, like, I think this guy's the real deal. Number 3, we got Tyler Conklin of the Jets going up against the Lions at home in MetLife, 26% owned. Week 14 up against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Tight end 12.5 PPR tied with Gerald Everett. 5 receptions on 8 targets for 28 yards. Back-to-back Michael Jordan 96-97 games with 7 or more targets. Important to note that Mike White went to the hospital after the game. And it's up in the air if he's going to play this week. Up in the fucking air. We have no idea if he's going to play this week. Gutsy performance by Mike White. Now, I'm a Jets hater. I hate the fucking Jets. I'm a Dolphins fan. My dad's a Jets fan. I have friends that are Jets fans. But at the end of the day, when you see a guy go out there, get speared by Matt Milano, get back up. Hit again. He's trying to get back up, and he couldn't. But gutsy-ass performance by Mike White. Like, truly impressive game by Mike White. I know he lost. I know he didn't have the biggest game ever. But let's be honest, like, that guy's got that dog in him. Like, people were talking about, oh, Zach Wilson, he fucked his mom's friend. Ha, ha, ha. Dude, he has nothing in him compared to Mike White. If we actually look back, we can see that Conklin is better with Joe Flacco. So if Cool Joe plays, even better for Tyler Conklin, even though it's suck-ass for the team. But the matchup against the Lions is a wet dream one. So thank you guys all so much for watching. If you ended up enjoying, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do hit that like button as well as that subscribe button down below. Make sure you check out our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. Bet $5 on any pregame moneyline bet. Win $150 in free bets if your bet wins. Again, Gonzaga minus 17,500 against Northern Illinois tonight. Make sure that you guys check that out. And if you want 3 free days of everything we have to offer for NFL DFS, click on the link in the video description. It's free for 3 days. Last week, I did slightly better than breaking even. Didn't have a huge day of DFS, but a decent day. Week 13, I won $5,000. So using our tools. So make sure you guys check that out. I love you guys all so much. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And as always, good.